Some of us have been part of movies where we played beyond the flexibility of what was expected.
Amazing, yes.
But the problem with viewers in Africa is this. Immediately Patience Ozokwor plays a wicked mother-in-law, they will not accept her for any other role apart from wicked mother-in-law. That's the problem with you, who is looking to me.
If you don't have money, you don't have a voice. God will give us the voice. We will have money to make our own movies. They can't beat us to it.
Yes.
We learned from them. But we were doing drama before before they came and started doing the big movies. We saw that we are growing.
Yes.
And we will grow. We are actually growing.
As a Ugandan, you're dreaming or trying to make a movie for Chinese people. I want to tell a Chinese story, and I'm coming to look for a Ugandan director or filmmaker to come and tell the Chinese story. It just seems off. So yes, you must have, your background is what actually helps you tell your story. Your background is what resonates. You can't go and tell other people's story. You tell your story.
Onoonye kifo eky'omulembe w'oyinza okuwummulirako ate nga kisangibwa ku lubalama lw'ennyanja. Winslow Luxury Suites. Kino kye kifo ekikkakkamu eri gwe anoonya w'oyinza okubeerako okumala ennaku entonotono oba ekiseera ekigere ng'olinga ali ewuwo. Kino kye kifo kyokka. Tulina amayumba agalina accommodation ey'omulembe nga mulimu ebisenge ebiwerera ddala 2, sitting room, modern kitchen, dining, closet nga z'obulungi, ssaako toilet n'ebinaabiro. Ebisenge byaffe birabika bulungi nnyo omuli ebitanda ebya queen ne king size. Ekiseera kyonna ky'omala ng'oli naffe tufuba okulaba nga tufuna kutaataganyizibwa kwonna anti tulina standby generator, wifi ne dstv ssaako ne laundry services. Tulina n'emmotoka ez'omulembe okwanguyizaako mu by'entambula era nga tusobola okupikinga okuva wonna w'oli ne ku kisaawe erimu abava ebweru wa Uganda. Winslow Luxury Suite tusangibwa mu Jomai Estate, Garuga, Entebbe. N'olwekyo gwe yandyagadde okumanya ebisingawo n'okubuukinga osobola tukubira ku noti 752 emu noti 8 nyemu oba osindika obubaka obwa WhatsApp ku +1 9 noti 83 2 noti 3 6 noti 2.
Greetings, everyone. Greetings, everyone. We need some excitement in the room. Mr. Ramsey Nouah is here. And it's an honor to be seated on this stage. You know, many times we start by saying, we used to watch you when we were young. And now,
all the time.
we're still watching you, so how old are we?
Exactly. You guys make me look like I'm grandfather already. I'm not.
So we all know Mr. Ramsey Nouah, but please allow me to have the honor of actually telling you who he really is. Mr. Ramsey Nouah is a renowned Nigerian actor and director and the proprietor of Ramsey Films with over 30 years in filmmaking. He has established, yes, 30 years. He has established himself as one of Nollywood's most celebrated talents. Let's clap for him. That's amazing. He gained prominence in the 1990s through the TV series Fortunes and has since starred in numerous iconic films, including The Figurine, 30 Days in Atlanta, Living in Bondage, Breaking Free, and Rattlesnake, The Ahana Story. His contributions to Nollywood extend beyond acting as he has successfully transitioned into directing and producing with a focus on telling authentic African stories. Before we get into speaking to Mr. Ramsey Nouah, there's been an issue of contention that we're going to look at, and he's going to give us some insight on that. And so I'll give us some background because right now we are getting into the topic of decolonizing African cinema and reclaiming our stories and identity. So having had that amount of experience of over 30 years, he can tell us what it means for us to have authentic African stories. And so we have a scenario to give us the preamble to that discussion. And the scenario is, the topic is inspired by The Children of Blood and Bone, a novel by Nigerian American author Tomi Adeyemi. This novel is being adapted into a film, and there's been a lot of contention because in 2024, an open casting call was put out, and many Nigerian actors were encouraged to audition. and they did. However, Amandla Stanback, a biracial, light-skinned actress, was chosen to portray the role of Princess Amari, a character which is described in the novel as a dark brown copper complexion. But the person who was cast was biracial and light-skinned. Critics argued that this choice overlooked the novel's themes. Very many people were upset, and it's important that we understand this so that we can get a clear background of where we're going with this. Fans were greatly disappointed and started to question the purpose of the open call, because it seemed like an open casting call didn't matter anyway, if they were going to choose people who were contrary to what the book had actually described. Author Tommy Ademe addressed this backlash and emphasized that efforts to include Nigerian actors were being made, and more Nigerian casting announcements were going to come up. Despite this, the initial casting choices continued to fuel discussions about representation and authenticity. So this controversy, let's stand up and welcome our mothers and fathers to the house.
Son of a soil, yeah. Uncle Keoke, you're welcome. Mama G, you're welcome. Thank you so much. So good to have you guys here.
And I add my voice, welcome to Uganda.
Yes.
So we're going to...
As you were saying.
Yes, as I was saying, we had our little preamble, and so the controversy that we are discussing has brought a lot of highlights to broader issues within the film industry regarding the importance of accurate cultural representation and the need for inclusivity in storytelling. And we're going to have Mr. Ramsey Nouah just give us some more, information and insights into this issue. As an all-round award-winning filmmaker, is this unique to you? Is such an issue something that you have experienced in the industries at some point in the past 30 years, accurate representation?
Now, I want to get something straight so that we don't get very political in this line of conversation there. So there are determining factors that will determine why producers would decide to want to use a biracial for a project of that magnitude. It's understandably okay so. I don't want to get traditional or get involved in any ways where it seems as if we're racially discriminating against creative works. It all depends on what the director decides that, I like this person seems to give me the best performance, out of many that I've come across. You know what I'm saying? And so it's pretty hard. Now, yes, we really will desire our own representation. I know that for certain. We will desire, but here, look at me. I'm biracial in Nollywood, but I am successful there in Nollywood. So there was no need to say, because I am mixed blood, so automatically I'm not Nigerian, and because of that, I can't be an actor here in Nollywood. It was open. You give an open arm for it to happen. So for me, it all depends. Now, where I will have a bit of concern is where dialects is not well, done. The nuances of the culture that they are talking about in the story is not properly in place, then of course that becomes an issue. As far as skin tone is concerned, if the person can play the culture and whatever, biracial or whatever, is fine by me. It's determined by the creative directors, I think. So that's my take on it.
Okay, doesn't that negate the work of the writer, the original writer? Because then that brings into play the conflict between the director's choices and the writer. Have you faced that at any point, having to deal with what the writer would want and the director?
Can I ask you a question? Have you ever read the book of James Bond, 007? Do you know the exact look of 007, the way the writer wrote it?
No.
And then we have how many 007 actors? We have over 7 of them. And they don't look the part, they don't look all the same part. You get what I'm saying? The way the writer puts the thing together does not necessarily mean that the creative world would, depict exactly, to the exact tone. Not necessarily, no. It doesn't count like that. Now, if the writer, of course, wants that to be the main thing, then the writer should be in the production, in creating all of that, and be part of the creators and say, oh, I prefer, or I like this person befits the look of what I've created and stuff like that. Yeah, the writer should be part of that.
How does that speak to us as Ugandans who are trying to create authentic Ugandan stories? Because Nigeria has been known, especially Nollywood, to be very successful because you tell your stories as Nigerians. You're not pretending or trying to be Americans or anything like that. Yeah. And in Uganda right now, the struggle we are having in some of our filmmaking processes is we're trying to make action movies, we're trying to make, these things where we're jumping off buildings and doing all sorts of things which do not seem reality or realistic with our actual Ugandan culture. So how would you speak to that?
Okay, so that's a market determining factor. I noticed that the Ugandans love the action movies. I remember when I first came to Uganda, everybody that kept shaking me and giving me a hug, the first question is, hey, my guardian angel. Hey, my guardian angel. Everybody talks about my guardian angel with me, which was one of my only action films in Nollywood. But that's the film that has successfully crossed across borders throughout the East Coast. So I noticed that the East Coast likes action sequence. Now, whatever it takes, if you want to target that market, you have to find a way to give the people what they want. Do you understand it? So now, here's the thing. There are different ways to look at it. There are different ways. You could do your action sequence without it having like a backdrop of too much Hollywood or too much Chinese. You can cultivate your own style or how you do your thing and still make it very entertaining that the people will love it. That's the way you make it natural. How you make it yours, right?
Yes.
How you can make it mine.
Yes.
In other words, I'm speaking my dialect, I'm fighting like my local fights will be here, and it has an appeal to my audience, importantly. Yes, importantly, that's what I think the writers and the filmmakers need to put into cognizance when they are working on things of that nature.
So does that mean that the authentic African story has to be juxtaposed against what the people want?
Now that's a tricky question. So we come from the background of where filmmakers will say, do it the way you feel it. That is my background, in all fairness and all truth. But you see, this age and time has gone beyond that. Now the market determines the story, the kind of story you want to tell.
Yes.
Back in the days when filmmakers, they do film, they just do it how they feel it. I can daydream things and put it in visuals and try to let people enjoy it with me.
Yes.
But it's my daydream, it's my feel. So I can do it the way I want. And back in the days, it used to be a good, successful story. It used to be a success story. But now, the market has changed.
Yes.
Now, back then, people were a bit more settled. I'm talking about the people like you now, for instance. Back in those days, youths didn't care much because there was good provision for them. Economically, things were okay. Financially, things were fine. So it was just a basic thing of being a youth, playing sports around your neighborhood, going to study in school, come back home to your parents' father is providing for all of that to happen, and there was union, and then we could just dream dreams and create things, and people will be glad to watch and be part of it. Now the economy is not the same. Now everybody is struggling to even feed, not to talk of surviving. The mind is in different places all at the same time. So you can't just create a dream and bring it to me, a hungry man, and tell me, oh, this is my dream. I'll throw it out the window. So a lot of people do not have the same attention span and the way things are at the time compared to now. So right now, people are in a mood where you either give me, for instance, the Ugandans, they will like an action sequence. Either give me a Jackie Chan film, a 007 film, or any action sequence. Give me comedy. If you start to tell me stories that I feel I don't want to relate to, it's probably out the window. That's why all of a sudden, if you make stories that don't resonate with the people, it stays in the shelf.
Yes.
It doesn't go far. Because there are very few numbers who will celebrate it with you. But you want to have numbers to celebrate that with you, you give the people what they would like to see. That's where the problem is.
So does that mean that the African authentic story is not so much about it being steeped in African culture, but more about expressing who one truly is, for example, as a filmmaker, because the room is full of filmmakers. So if it is my true imagination, my true dream, is that the authentic African story, or does culture play a big role in that as well?
Culture plays a big role in whatever you do. Your background, plays a big role in whatever you do. Now, I'm not saying this is out the window, but it's going to be extremely weird that as a Ugandan, you're dreaming or trying to make a movie for Chinese people. It will feel off somehow. It will just feel like it's almost like saying you're singing off key. It will just seem go off. As a matter of fact, it's going to be hard for me to say, I want to tell a Chinese story, and I'm coming to look for a Ugandan director or filmmaker to come and tell the Chinese story. It just seems off. So yes, you must have, your background is what actually helps you tell your story. Your background is what resonates. You can't go and tell other people's story. You tell your story, which is of course infused in your culture, your tradition, your nuances, your dialect, everything is all part of it. That way you can tell the world, I want to hear your story. I want to hear the story of Australians, I want to hear the stories of Jamaicans and all of those things. They want to hear your story. What are the stories of Ugandans? You can't be a Ugandan and you're going to tell Jamaican story. I'm like, where's the connection? Except you grew up there too.
The problem we have with the young people today is that we do not know too much about our own culture.
Okay.
Because we are in the global village with social media and all that. And I think that is why many young people are telling the kind of stories they are telling. And that is why the question is rising up, that is this a true, authentic African story? But then you may find for that young person that is their authentic story. So is that something you can speak to the filmmakers here?
Yes, and I'll give you instances. For instance, in the Nigerian music industry, Hollywood or the American music industry was a huge influence on what they do. That's for a fact. I can tell you that for free. It took us several years for us to be able to sing strongly into our tune and dialects. And I'm not talking about the local singers from our local places already, who traditionally just do our singing in our dialects and our languages. But
I think it's more of business to them. Yeah, it's more of business to them. And also it's more of dictating the pace. What's comfortable for them, what they find, what they can deal with, when they're in a terrain and they feel like, taking an actor from somewhere, they don't know the background, they don't know whatever, or they don't just want to go through the stress of it all. They'll find their own and just work on it. Business also means that if the actor from Africa or from Nigeria or from Uganda does not have a global recognition, only within their sphere, then it's not good enough for their business. Maybe they want an actor with global appeal or something. That could be the reason why they will decide to do that to themselves. So these things are a bit tricky when it comes to how they want to decide this stuff. Of course, sometimes racism also plays a big game in it. I mean, racism plays a game in everything we do. In politics, in social life, day to day, everything. You're unconsciously racist to everything around you. Unconsciously. You're racist to your neighbor if you pass by default. We're racist amongst ourselves. We're racist to the north, we're racist to the south, we're racist to the east, we're racist to the west. It's always there, unconsciously. It's this subliminal, there. But we call the racial discrimination quite heavy because of black skin and light skin and white skin. It becomes a bit more, like that. But amongst ourselves, we're all racist. I can guarantee you that even you, your friends there, you're racist to him or her. Yeah, it happens. So these things play a game in all the decisions that we take in life. It's not only in the movie industry, it's in all spheres, social life, every other industry you can think about. It plays a strong game. And until, which I doubt if that's ever going to happen in this our generation, until we outlive that racism, unity will be very difficult, what I call far-fetched. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys. Before we conclude, we just have one more question. And I like very much that Issa was actually pointing us in the direction of the conclusive question, and then the power is back. Yay. So, oh, the mics are on already. So just to close this session, how then do we balance global collaborations while preserving African cultural authenticity? I'll say that again. How do we balance global collaborations while preserving our African cultural authenticity?
Issa, yes, sir. I think you can easily answer that question, but I'll give you an example. What's the film you mentioned just now? The Marvel film?
Black Panther.
If we do a lot of Black Panthers, then we have like maybe some good collaboration doing that.
Yes.
If we do some more things of that nature where you want to tell your story in ways where it can resonate globally, then you can have a lot of collaboration. It is quite heavy, but this from my perspective. A lot of what our filmmakers can see from different perspectives. But for me, it's more like I feel once you're able to make your film in a way where it becomes a global, you can get global audience. Don't forget, always underline the fact that filmmaking is a universal language. Meaning that devoid of whatever it is, language, dialect, color, whatever it is, anybody watching should be able to understand what you are saying through that medium, through the film. It does not matter whether you're speaking Swahili, Yoruba, Igbo, Indian, Pakistani, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. If it's global, they'll understand it. And when that starts to happen, then it's easy to have collaboration. First, you must break into the global market, and with that, you can get collaboration. If you don't have a global market and you expect people to come into the market and share with you, it's going to be a tough one.
Thank you very much. Let's give him a better hand clap than that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, that's
thank you
all
so much.
for
Thank you
this
very
particular
much.
session.
I really appreciate the fact that there are not too many questions too. God bless you. Let's keep going like that.
Let's have a small, we have no power. I was going to ask for a small break from the DJ as we prepare for the next session. But just say hi to your neighbor. Let's have a 5-minute break as we figure out how to handle the next.
Esi mukasya kano kankwanjulira mami gadgets abakola mu education gadgets zonna mu Uganda balina tablets z'abaana zonna mu bikanga Samsung, Apple, Origimo ate nga balina n'esina keyboard, balina ebimotoka by'abaana, ebimundu, essaawa, bags z'abaana, bottles, container ng'ogasseko ne building blocks, balina headsets z'abaana, balina smart watch zonna ate nga ziri Origino, balina wireless charger ate nga basisinkanibwa wali ku Pioneer Mall edduka li PA11 ate ng'osobola bakubira ku 0703 69 69 04. Gambye ekikwasagana education gadgets zonna olina kwekwata mami gadgets kubanga yasinga.
So please join us on stage. Round of applause, please. Wonderful. Secondly, it's also my honor to invite the next speaker, Patience Ozokwor. Patience is a Nigerian actress, widely celebrated for her powerful performances in Nollywood. She has featured in over 200 films, including Mothering Sunday, Blood Sisters, Old School, Chief Daddy, and The Wedding Party 2. In recognition of her contribution to the Nigerian film industry, she received the prestigious
Industry Merit Award at the Africa Magic Viewers' Choice Awards in 2023. So round of applause. So I think I will really direct some of the comments from Joy and Emmanuel and have you speak to them, because we had issues coming up of a lack of character development in the writing of African stories. Maybe I'll actually start there. Is this something that you both agree with, considering your vast experience, the various characters that you've played, and in your, navigating of the sector, is there a lack of depth in character development? Maybe I'll start with Ms. Ozokwor, please.
Yeah, she raised a lot of points, and I would like to see here that character formation.
Pray to God it knocks your shoes.
Character formation in the acting world is actually, one, you have to have the talent. Secondly, the director does a lot of things to work on you,
yes,
to help you get higher than where you started.
Yes.
So if an actor has the gift of acting, the problem is that everybody wants to act because they feel that you can make quick money from there.
Yes.
But they don't realize that if you don't act well, nobody will cast you in a movie. But those who are good, they need to be directed.
Yes.
Like I said in the other interview, we have our leaders that have started spending money, sending some of us to school to go. That's why you see our pictures have improved from what it used to be.
Right.
Well, so we need help. The director can go a long way to help. At a time, if I'm on set with a director, they will say, patience, use your discretion, which means I have gotten to the level where that director can depend on me to carry through the role very well. And if somebody is cast in a movie and you leave the person that is supposed to be there because you want to help this one to grow, you will not get the best. In casting, the right people must be put on board for you to get whatever you want. Is it clear? Yes. Am I speaking the truth? Yes. You can't bring, most of the time, you see, some of these are young girls and boys, they have money, more than some of us who are already in the industry. And they want to become stars overnight. They bring their money and sponsor movies and cast themselves, imposing the character on themselves over the director.
Yes.
But some directors who are worth their salt, they will say, no, I can give you another role that will not affect the story very well.
Right.
Some of them are wicked because they want money. If they don't direct, they won't make money for the family. So they will allow you to go home with what you want to do. But when a director knows that, my aim is to get to Netflix. My aim is to get to Prime.
Yes.
Internationally.
Yes.
They will choose the right people for the right roles. But you know also that he who pays the piper detects the truth. So sometimes these things militate against choosing the right characters. But if an international body comes to shoot a movie, a story that happened in Nigeria or Uganda, for example, the major cast, if not from Uganda, it could be from African country to show the color, the mannerism, the costume, the location, everything worked together to bring a story into limelight. And you know, this movie was shot in Uganda.
Fantastic.
Or this movie was shot in Ghana.
Fantastic.
Or here or there. But if you don't have money, you don't have a voice. God will give us the voice. You didn't hear me? God will give us the voice. That same God, that the voice he will give us is that we will have money to make our own movies. They can't beat us to it.
Yes.
We learned from them. But we were doing drama before they came and started doing the big movies. It's only that we are growing.
Yes.
And when we grow, we are actually growing.
Yes.
If you remember how we started, you know that we have really gone a long way. We have tried. All we need is for them to do the right thing. There was a time when they wanted to shoot the Half of African Sun. They sent for me. If you want to do audition, you can't call these big names in Nollywood and leave them to come on their own and say, I have come for audition. No, that's an insult. You can send for them. They don't even know you are auditioning them. You know what I mean? So they don't even know that you are auditioning them. And respectfully, they will play their role and they go. Yeah. Then if you send me a letter that, actually in this movie, there's a movie you want to shoot, you want to take. But then I would, it was actually an audition I went for.
Yeah.
But when you throw it up with, people should send in their names for audition. It's an insult. Hello? It's an insult. In as much as we don't have money to do it, if they want to use us, they can use us and use us correctly. Please.
Yes.
And at the end of it all, when that movie came out, I did well. I knew I did well. They sent for me a second time.
Amazing.
The first time I went, I paid my bill, flew myself to Lagos. So they now said, we will call you if we later. I said, fine, which means I did well. And shortly after, they called me. And what they now told me later, after the second audition, that they paid my bills to come. I said, the owners have decided that it is this person. I said, fine. You have wasted my time, but no problem.
Yeah.
If it's my movie, nobody will take it from me.
Exactly.
But do your best. The fact is that children of nowadays want to become stars before you even go on set. Mm-hmm. Once you register with the industry, you begin to claim, I'm a movie star. What do you do for a living? I'm a movie star. You have not even appeared in any movie. Our own time, before you can appear on a poster, you celebrate it. The day they came and told me that, hey, your face is on this thing. Oh. I said, if you see race, we ran, me and my friends, we ran. And when I saw it, I said, God, I thank you very much. I thank you. Because your face has appeared, it just shows that you did well in that movie. Yeah. But now, when you people are now the ones sponsoring the movies because you want to become a star, you've already put yourself on the poster where you want it to be. So let us calm down. It's one step at a time. You begin from somewhere and you know where you're going. The sky is no longer your limit, but your starting point. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I think there is so much food for thought in all of those remarks. It builds on the issue of character, on casting, that if we have the expectations that casting should be done in a way that befits the story, the African story, then we also can't be counterproductive to that as well.
Wano ku Hasi Beauty Parlor tuli bakafulumu kulabirira n'okuyoyota ensusu tukola facial ne tukupepeta ka face ne kawawera nga aka baby tusiba n'okola enviiri mu buli musono songa mu kukola pedicure ne manicure tuwe kansa tusala enviiri mu buli musono ate bwe kituuka mu kukola makeup tetumanyiyo mulala tuli muyenga ku Tank Hill Road okulira na Italian supermarket mu basement essimu tuli ku noti 72 682 953 teweerabira saluni egenda okujjayo bulungi bwo n'ekitiibwa kyo ye Hasi Beauty Parlor, a world of beauty.
A bit of advice to add to that, but also guidance ranging from your vast experience on both ends.
Uganda, thank you for having me. I'm an actor and a lawyer. I don't want to start on a controversial note, but I want to ask a question. Do you think that when movies are made in Hollywood, they think about you in Uganda? So that's the first point I had disagreement with Joy Odiete's position. You see, movie making is both cultural, both political, both setting an agenda. Depends on what you want. There's always an interest. Because I don't care a hoot about you in Nigeria. It's a product they want to sell to themselves. If you buy part of it, that's your business. Let's have that standpoint. What is the most advanced secret of Nollywood success? We are telling our own stories to our own people in the language they understand, and that's why they patronize us, and that's the history of Nollywood. Uganda, tell your own stories. Tell your own stories to your own people in the accent they understand. I need to make that point because she's a distributor, so she's distributing, and I'm acting. Nigeria, yes, sometimes you talk about acting locally and thinking internationally. Yes, it's good for the global world that your content is local. There is something that happens in Uganda, it doesn't happen anywhere, any other place in the world. You can tell it from the Ugandan perspective to the world. They will patronize you.
Yes.
Don't go speaking British English here.
Yeah.
To a woman in that market who came through. He no go sell. So we have advanced because everything I want to talk about is from the standpoint of how we were able to do it in Nollywood. You know, this story came about, and my name was number one on the things about them wanting to recreate Ozokwor. Things fell apart. And Reno Mokiri, I'm not a fan of his, but Reno said, number one, OKANAYO can play this. Why you bring it in the server? Yes, KOK is 60-something, but KOK has a face and a drive. I have never compared my acting capabilities with any foreign actor. I am OKANAYO with a Nigerian accent. For the purpose of movie making, I can be given an artistic director to say, this is what we're positioning you. But don't make me start speaking like Donald Trump. It won't work. So for the purpose of filmmaking, they called some Nigerians and said, KOK can play this in this recreation. Why are you bringing an American actor who is not even American? In line with what my sweetheart here said, you can't speak Igbo more than me, even when you are taught by an artist director. It's not possible. You cannot give the mannerisms of being an Igbo person, which is an Igbo story. You cannot. As much as the producers are at liberty to choose whoever they want, I don't care. But the fact of the matter is, we have grown as an industry in Nigeria to be able to spearhead a younger actor playing Ozokwor. It must not be OKANAYO. But for goodness sake, don't tell me about marketing. That's why I have a disagreement with her. Don't tell me about marketing. Sometimes, most times, I have been at the immigration point in London and the person stamping me and say, okay, how you doing, man? You've not been around here for some time. I watched a movie 2 weeks ago. That's a person stamping me in as an immigration officer, Uyibo. They watch. So what are you telling me about not being popular all over the world? Sometimes Africans we don't patronize ourselves. You write an application, they say somebody with 10 years experience. Where you go get 10 years experience? Are you just like CNN does to you every minute? They repeat news so that you get used, you must hear it. That's what CNN does to you. What happens to raise this young man from Uganda? Push him to that character you want. So we must not align. I'm a cultural and traditional. What I'm wearing is my native bead as a chief. I don't joke. I'm a bloody, fantastic African. I'm proud. If you can ask me an arrogant African, I won't say no. I love my continent. They can't love me more than myself, for goodness sake. These guys, you mean nothing to them. We must sell our product to us. If we don't sing our own song, nobody will. If we build partnership between us and Ugandans, it's not, and whatever it is, but I'm in Uganda. Yeah, I mean, of course, some guys came from Kenya to understudy Zebejiro and all this stuff, but they ran away. They don't know we knew that they ran away. It was Cameroonians and Ghanaians who came and stayed for some while. But, you know, like the apprenticeship scheme, they learned a job for 2 years and ran away and thought they have learned. They don't know we are holding the secret of movie making in Nigeria. So point I'm trying to make is this. We can build an industry. Characterization, when we talk about characterization, some of us have been part of movies where we played beyond the flexibility of what was expected.
Amazing, yes.
But the problem with viewers in Africa is this. Immediately Patience Ozokwor plays a wicked mother-in-law, they will not accept her for any other role apart from wicked mother-in-law. That's the problem with you who is looking to me. They don't see the flexibility of the actor. I have undergone some role playing in Nollywood characterization where I was made to speak like somebody else and so on. They won't notice that. So the point I'm trying to make is this. It's a huge industry for us to drive the content of what we want. We have a huge population. We have people who are interested. The beauty of coming from Nigeria is that we have men and women who have the resources who want to invest. I don't know whether Uganda has it. Many African countries don't have it, of people who want to invest. You know, during the interview, I was telling them how we built Nollywood. You don't know because you're not Nigerian. Joy we know from stories being told. She may not have been part of it. I tell you, my brothers and sisters, listen. A woman whose husband is rich, her husband will give her feeding allowance. She has a younger brother who's been telling, I want to produce movie. I'm talking about 25, 30 years ago, how we built Nollywood. She has a younger brother or a friend who has been saying, please give me money now, let me produce this movie. If it was 500, she would pinch 200,000 and give to the guy. This is feeding allowance her husband gave her. The guy will go, make one movie, make two, and come back and say, Auntie, this is the money I made. Oh. That's how we built Nollywood, from feeding allowance. Are you Ugandans willing to build an industry from feeding allowance? Are you willing to save money and make a short film and make news? I'm telling you the sacrifices we made. Then cast your people here. It's about culture. Some people will notice you from outside this land and say, we saw this movie, well made, is from Uganda. Are you willing to make that sacrifice? Let me raise the case now and continue later.
Wow. Yeah.
Forgive my eyes, I'm still sleep deprived. We got in this morning by 3 a.m. Okay. We got in very early this morning. So I came prepared for a panel. I was told I was going to be asked questions and I will answer. But now I'm standing here and I'm wondering, am I supposed to just yap? Or how is it supposed to be? Anyways, are we all filmmakers here? So I'm going to ask a few questions. Forgive me as I sit down. I told you I'm sleep deprived. How has film been in Uganda since the last time we were here? I want a few people to stand up and tell us what they've been up to in their film journey since last March. As an actor, as a director, as a writer, as a producer, have you made that short film? Are we just wasting our time every time we come here? We are saying aspire to Maguire, to refire, and then it falls on the ground. I want 2 or 3 people to stand up and tell me what has happened in their life since last year's African Film Forum and Icon Awards and this year. What have you done? I know a couple of people have done something. I don't want to mention names, but I want you to stand up and boldly tell us what you've done. Who's going to start? Ladies first. Did you hear what I said? Should I say it in Luganda? Should I speak in Luganda for you? Yes. Haish. I'm still learning. I know Wibalenyo, I know Mujebaleko, and I know what else again. That's all. And I know my name. My name is Muchibi. Hope you guys know. Chris Muchibi Ode. I'm from Kololo. People are in a hurry to show life, to show that they're no more poor. Nobody is watching you to see whether you are living life or not. Nobody cares. The day you are poor, they will walk out to the next person. All your friends that are joining you at Governor or at Nouah and drinking with you, the day you go broke, they look for a new friend. So you need to understand that if you give me $1 million, I have $500,000. So you have to be able to separate what? Seed from bread. And if you're not disciplined with 1 million Ugandan shillings, you cannot handle 1 billion Ugandan shillings. For example, Doreen, you've done Mama Wanje. If I ask you for the paperwork for that film, do you have every transaction that happened in that film? Who got paid where and how and when? If I see that, I can now trust you to say, wow, how much was the budget? How much was the budget of that film? Huh? How much was it? You can't tell me? You tell me later. Okay, let's assume it was 50,000. Let's say it was 500,000 Ugandan shillings. Maybe you had only 300,000, so you're looking for 200,000 more, right? But I'm saying I want to see how you have spent 300,000 first. Because my money didn't come, I didn't steal it. I don't put my money in someone's hands. When I give you the money, next time I see you in Serena drinking juice. I give you the money, next time I see you in Sheraton. Or you are in a club, balling. Even if it's not my money, I will think it's my money you're spending. I don't think you're getting what I'm saying. But if I ask you, you say you have 500,000, you spent it this way, I see the paperwork, I gave Mr. Mutumbu 2,000, I gave Miss Waye 2,000, I see the proof of how you spent the money. And I can see that those when I call them, and I say, Issa say he paid you money, you say, who is Issa? They know that Issa paid them money. You have the proof of the transfer. You guys have mobile money here, right? So you have the proof of the transfer. That shows me that you're in business. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's not a matter of you just having big money. How have you handled small money? So I'll repeat it again. You are not allowed to eat more than half of the money you make, except you have signed up to be poor. If what you make in your whole life is 10,000 Ugandan shillings, live your life on 5,000. Am I touching the wrong chord? Because you see, this is what Europe will never teach us. Europeans, even if the world does not produce anything for the next 10 years, 200 years, they will still be okay. They have saved enough to keep their generations. Africa, we eat everything. We eat everything. Now we don't own our airports anymore. I hear that Chinese people own our airports. Can you believe that? Out of Zambia the other day, and Chinese man was one that was telling me where to stand. Chinese man in Zambian airport. So they went to borrow money to build the airport, and now the airport is owned by China in Zambia. Think about it. There's a clinic in Nigeria where they finished building the clinic. They put the signboard in Chinese in Nigeria. A government clinic. Because they've not paid them their money, they collected the clinic back. So we eat. We are competing with our neighbors. What's your name, sir? Alan Cruz. Alan Cruz wants to be better than, what's your name, man? Pamela. So he's working so hard because he wants to be better than Pamela. Pamela is not part of your story. You have to be better than Alan Cruz of yesterday. So how much did Alan Cruz have yesterday? How much does he have today? You are praying for 1 billion. If I give you 1 billion and you don't have this thing I just said now, in another 1 year, you'll be looking for another 1 billion. So you have to be able to separate what you use for business and what you use to enjoy your life. You need to show me that your business is worth more to you. I honestly think that Ugandan filmmakers need to understand that. And you know the reason why I know that thing exists? The symptom of that thing I'm just saying is entitlement. When you feel entitled to the money the government will give to you, you're not entitled to nothing. So you need to know that you are going to be the way you are forever if you don't settle down to dig the ground yourself and make your own money and separate your bread from your meat, from your seed. And I've told you how I do my own. You give me 1,000 naira. It's very small money. You can buy 2 bottles of this thing. I would divide it into 10. Spend 5, save one, give my wife one, give my God one, give my children one. It works like magic. September is here. They're going to be, no September, May is here. They're going to be new school fees again. How many of you have children? So I called my wife, I said, hey, school fees is in May. How are we going to pay? She said, there's money in the account. Sorted. I don't have to think or plan. So if you have a pregnant wife, you are still surprised on the day of her pregnancy, of her delivery. She's been pregnant for 9 months and you couldn't plan for 9 months. What were you thinking? That's why they say everybody can be a man, but not everybody can be a father. Think about what I just said. Everyone can be a man, not everybody can be a father. All I'm saying is we need to unlearn this entitlement and this show off. It's good to come to the icons, dress up and show off and win the award. You see, but let me tell you something. You need to decide what you really want in life. And they will take your film, put on their platform. When it sells, they will split the money with you. Do you have that in Uganda? No. It happens in Nigeria. 1, 2, 3 film or something like that, which is Okonabo. So he has a platform. He does 10 million, 12 million, 15 million. If you make your film, you take your film and put your film on his platform. When he now sells, he will now share 60-40, 70-30, 50-50 with you. So if you have numbers on your YouTube, what numbers do you use? What's your highest? 220K. That's numbers. That's not a lot of money. That's like subscribers. I mean views. Oh, that's not bad. So someone like you can take a film like his and put on your platform. They entertain your viewers, then you not split the money with him. You sign an agreement. The only thing is just that most times they find it hard to show you the back end. But if he's a honest guy, he looks like a honest guy. He will show you the back end and say, see what came in from the RPM and from the AdSense, advert and all of that. You guys can split. Why I'm saying that is because the problem with going to DVD and VCD is piracy. The moment you go to those people, it's gone. And this standing here to let you know that it's possible to start from nothing and generate wealth. But I'll stop here.
Esi mukasiaka nukankwanjulie mamiga jetsi abakulembera mu education gadgetsi zonna mu Uganda bayina tablets z'abaana zonna mu bikanga syamusanga Apple Origimo ate nga bayina n'esina keyboard bayina ebimotoka by'abaana ebimundu eshaawa bags z'abaana bottles container ng'ogasseko ne building blocks bayina headsets z'abaana bayina smart watch zonna ate nga ziri original bayina wireless charger ate nga basisinkanibwa wali ku Pioneer Mall eduka li PA11 ate ng'osobola bakubira ku 0703-69-09 gambye ekikwasagana education gadgets zonna oyina kwekwata mami gadgets kubanga yasinga.
Wano ku Hasi Beauty Parlor tuli bakafulumu kulabirira n'okuyooyoota ensusu tukola facial ne tukupepeta ka face ne kawawera nga aka baby tusiba n'okola enviiri mu buli musono songa mu kukola pedicure ne manicure tuwekansa tusala enviiri mu buli musono ate bwe kituuka mu kukola makeup tetumanyiyo mulala tuli muyenga ku Tank Hill Road okulira na Italian supermarket mu basement essimu tuli ku noti 72 682 953 teweerabira saluni egenda okujjayo bulungi bwo n'ekitiibwa kyo ye Hasi Beauty Parlor, a world of beauty. Onoonye ekifo eky'omulembe w'oyinza okuwummulirako ate nga kisangibwa ku lubalama lw'ennyanja Winslow Luxury Suites. Kino kye kifo ekikkakkamu eri gwe anoonya w'oyinza okubeerako okumala ennaku entonotono oba ekiseera ekigere ng'olinga ali ewuwo. Kino kye kifo kyokka. Tulina amayumba agalina accommodation ey'omulembe nga mulimu ebisenge ebiwerera ddala 2, sitting room, modern kitchen, dining, closet nga z'obulungi, ssaako toilet n'ebinaabiro. Ebisenge byaffe birabika bulungi nnyo omuli ebitanda ebya queen ne king size. Ekiseera kyonna ky'omala ng'oli naffe tufuba okulaba nga tufuna kutaataganyizibwa kwonna anti tulina standby generator, wifi ne DSTV ssaako ne laundry services. Tulina n'emmotoka ez'omulembe okwanguyizaako mu by'entambula era nga tusobola okupikinga okuva wonna w'oli ne ku kisaawe erimu abava ebweru wa Uganda. Winslow Luxury Suite tusangibwa mu Jomai Estate, Garuga, Entebbe. N'olwekyo gwe yandyagadde okumanya ebisingawo n'okubukinga osobola tukubira ku noti 752 1 noti 8 1 oba osindika obubaka obwa WhatsApp ku +9 noti 83 2 noti 3 6 noti 2.